Hi, my name is Shannon. Welcome to my channel. This is a new episode of Cast On with me. Yeah, new episode. This is going to be a lot of color work discussion up front before we get to the cast on part. Generally, these videos, I like them to be sort of a discussion, a deep dive into why I made the choices, into my process of making choices for how I chose this particular sweater. And then there's a little bit of knitting where I stop and talk with you about some stuff. Yeah, all of that. So I'm actually going to, I hope, I'm going to be able to start casting on a bit as I do this talk with you. So let me tell you what I'm doing here. This has been a work in the planning phase for probably 6 weeks at least, maybe longer. So I filmed some video clips of my process, which you're gonna see in a moment. And make sure, I hope you have like something to craft while you're watching, and a drink or something like that. And of course you can pause. So I don't even know why I said that, but it just seems like, yeah, I want you to enjoy this video. Okay, so you might remember that I had a fail with this yarn. This is yarn by Qing Fibre. It is her Dashing DK base, which is a super fine merino. And this is the colorway yellow, and it's a nice bright yellow. And I had purchased this to make the Traveler hoodie, and it just didn't work out. I didn't have, it turned out I didn't have enough yardage, but there were also some other problems with the sweater that it just didn't work for me. It just, yeah. Okay, let's put that, no need to dwell on bad vibes. Those were bad vibes. So I started to think about, like, what could I make with this? And I think the amount of yardage I had was just not quite enough for a full, like, I need to do something with color work with this in order to make this yardage work into a sweater for me, unless I was planning to make a crop sweater, and I'm not really into crop sweaters. I do have a few, but I don't want everything to be cropped. I prefer like a more, I don't know, average length sweater that is more versatile, and I'll get more years of wear out of it. So it started me down a rabbit hole about, like, what I usually do when I'm trying to figure out what to make next is to look at my queue. And I found in my queue I had 3 very similar colorwork sweaters, but they were different weights. So there was a fingering weight, a DK weight, and a worsted weight sweater. I think I've since deleted maybe both the fingering and the worsted, because I narrowed it down to, I first thought, well, I don't really think I want a sweater in 3 different weights that looks very similar. And I also thought, you know, I'm not gonna make all these. And I really wouldn't make the worsted weight. If you've been around a while watching my channel, you probably know that I generally, like, I love to knit DK. Who doesn't? Like, it's the perfect weight. It's not too thin where it can feel like forever to finish the project. It's not, you know, it's not so thick that it's too thick to wear. I can get a lot of wear out of that weight, but I really get the most wear out of my fingering weight sweaters. So even though I prefer to knit DK, I tend to knit more fingering weight sweaters because those are more wearable for me in the climate that I live in. I live in northern New Jersey. I live right across the river from New York City. You probably saw a clip of the city at the beginning of this video. And yeah, that's my view. When I step outside my building, that's what I see. New York every day. It's awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. Freaking love it. And yeah, so this climate, it's very humid in the winter. And it's also, you know, it doesn't get extremely cold, at least not to me. Like, I don't feel the need to constantly bundle up. We do get a couple weeks of very cold weather, like collectively, like random days here or there that are very, very cold, where a heavy sweater is nice. But generally, I layer a lot, and a fingering weight can, you know, I can pretty much wear that almost year round with the air conditioning and stuff that we have. So I do have a couple DK. I do like to knit DK though, so I do make some. But if you were to look at my wardrobe, you would see many, many more fingering weight. I don't know why I went on that long tangent. I don't have to make excuses for why I'm making the weight that I'm making. I don't know. Anyway, so I pretty much settled on the Inge sweater solo. I think it's called Sweater Solo by Lena Samso. Not sure I'm saying her name right, but I'll put it on screen. This sweater pattern came out in February of this year, and I immediately cued it. I just really liked the way, the simplicity, the all over color work, the simplicity of it. Fantastic, right? So I set about trying to figure out what colors would I put with this yellow, because it's so bright and it's a little overwhelming. So I wanted to make sure I was picking colors that would stand up to the yellow. So go watch some clips and come back and we'll chat. I'll show you some swatches. Been thinking about what to do with the yellow yarn, the yellow DK weight yarn that I bought for the Traveler. This is the Traveler swatch. That will not be a Traveler. So there's a colorwork sweater that I queued a while ago. It's interesting. I've queued three colorwork sweaters. That's a story for another day, though. They're all very similar, I guess, is what I was going to say. One is fingering weight, one's DK, and one is worsted. But they look very similar. So I think I may do the DK. So this is this would be the main color. So I thought it would be fun to use my new Dictionary of Color Combos, this Japanese color combo book. And what I did was I looked for the closest color in the back. These are, I've learned that these are meant to be cut. And so you could play around with making your own color combos. So I don't really want to do that. Instead, what I thought I'd do is just look at color combos that they suggest. And the way you do that is you find the color in the index here. And then you flip to, okay, so they have 3 shades of yellow. Whoops, wrong page. Next page, yes. 3 shades of bright yellow, and I really should get a tripod for my phone so I can have 2 hands. And then that top one is the closest, and then you can flip to the color combos. These are the color combos listed here. But what I did, because I looked at the first one and it was okay, it didn't have a lot. You can see it has the fewest. This one in the middle has the most. So I went through all 3 and flagged them. So that's what's here. So I'm going to show you those. There's a few that I really was very interested in. Oh, and I didn't flag any 2 colors. I only flagged 3 or 4 color. So this was super interesting. This is the lemon yellow. I thought that was a cool sort of different way to combine colors. So in this sweater, yellow would be the main color, and then these 2 would be contrast. One would be more of a contrast, like more yardage of one and less yardage of the other. All right, so there's one. Sorry, I'm hoping this isn't going to be super awkward. I love this one too. That again is lemon yellow. It's got like a brown and a turquoise green. That would be so pretty. And this one, also really like this one. Again, it's the lemon yellow. So I would have to tone up. These are these are more like mid-tones. That's a mid-tone, bright and dark. And I really think that might be the way to do it, like a mid-tone and a dark. Is this the next one? No, this is the next one here. That's the actual color, yellow. Also very interesting. I kind of want one of these to be paler though, maybe both. And this is the next one here. I hope this isn't making you dizzy. Okay, now we get into the 4-color combos. Sweater could be done in 4 colors, but I think I'll probably stick with 3. I actually don't love that one. Is that one that was had the actual yellow? Yeah, right? Yeah, that's the color of my yarn. This one was interesting. I thought either with the green or without the taupe. I was trying to use my other hand. So like minus that color and just these 3, or any 3, those 3, or these 3 could be interesting too. That's the more, that yellow has a little bit more red in it than mine. And then there's one more that I just thought was interesting to look at. Yeah, that one again. So again, that like, I really like that combo. So this is the lemon yellow. So this yellow has a little bit more blue in it than my actual yarn. And that trio, I think, was back, nope, one more back here. Is it here? Nope, not that one. This one? I thought it was the second one. Pretty close. There was another one that had a darker. Nope, that's also interesting. I'm probably between these 2. This one here and that one. I don't have any yarn in my stash that looks like any of these. Oh, this is the one. I love that. I don't have any yarn in my stash that looks like those. So that would be the next thing to do, is to just start pulling yarn and seeing how close I can get to these combos and see what I think once they're laying in yarn form in front of me. Okay, I went stash diving and I think I got pretty close to some of these combos. So there's the yellow. Let me turn it on side, it might be easier to see the color. This would then represent this. So this is like a hand spun that I made recently that has a lot going on. So it has I think, like, my challenge with this yellow is that it's a very strong color. I need colors that can stand up to it, but also not clash with it. I think that yarn could definitely do it. There's a lot going on. It is sport weight versus DK, but I think I'd be okay. This is hand spun, so hand spun usually tends to populate a little better, I think, like fill in a little better, poof up a little better. Okay, there's a 3rd color in there, and one sec. That's what I have on hand. That is a Surrey alpaca that's DK weight from Qing Fibre, that I've had in my stash for a while, planned for another project that just, I never got around to it. But that would be that combo, those 3, which I think that's quite nice. I'm just not sure about the Surrey, whether or not I want to use that with this. It may be gorgeous, or it might be too much. I'm not sure. All right, so moving on. I have this combo, so this would be these 2 colors, the same, and then a 3rd color. I had that in my stash. That's a fingering weight from Cat Sandwich Fibers, but I have a full skein. That's half of a full skein. So held together double, they'd equal 200 yards, which would be fine for the smaller motif in the sweater. Pattern calls for 130 yards or so. So yeah, that would be that combo. It's pretty good. Again, I think I need to swatch to make sure it works. Moving on. Oh, I don't have this combo. I don't have a blue that deep or a green that, I have something close, but it didn't really work, I didn't think. And then I feel like I missed one. Maybe, oh, okay. This would then be, hold on. So I have something close. It would be those two colors plus the Surrey. Hang on. Trying to do this one-handed. So it would be those three colors together, right? Those would pretty much be those. There was another one that I think I passed, this one, which I don't have these exactly, but I have something kind of close to that one. Hold on one sec. Okay, those three would represent those. I mean, the blue is actually a little darker for sure. The stand-in for the gold is more rust. Yeah, that's a whole lot of texture. So this is actually some hand spun that is a strand of wool spun together with a strand of mohair silk, and I think it's a sport weight. So yeah, I think I need to swatch. So it would be this combo. No, not that combo. This combo. That combo. And that's it, right? I mean, I guess I could do this combo too, but I don't love that. I think this is better for those. All right, welcome back. Okay, out of the color combos that I found, I was not able to find those colors, so I did not swatch that. I ended up making basically three colorways. All right, so the first up is, now this is, the rust isn't quite right. It's not as warm toned as that, but that was one combo with the blue, green, yellow, and rust. I like it. This next one is this. This is the, matching this up here, the blue-green, the deeper blue-green in the little crosses, and yellow. Also really nice. Got a couple more in here. This one is actually really similar. I think the difference here is that, yeah, so this might really be more this one. I probably wasn't able to do that other one because this is really close to the color in the square, and then I've got the blue-green as well and the yellow. So this is really doing that, which I really like it. I do really like it. And then, wasn't able to do that one. Is this the last one? Yes, okay. And then this last one, the deep blue-green, pale rust, and yellow. Which, this doesn't really work for me. I don't really like this. Like, I could not fathom this being an all-over pattern. Like, maybe for someone else, but not for me. But I mean, I think the colors do go together. I just don't think this would work for me. Where I could see this working better for me. I was also curious to explore, like, how are these color combos working when I use the color wheel, because the color wheel is my go-to method when I'm trying to combo up colors and make sure, cat nearby on the cat tree, and make sure that the colors are working together. So to use this type of color wheel, this is the pocket color wheel. You can get it on Amazon for $6 or $7. To use the color combo section, you would use these interior triangles, square, and rectangle to figure out what works. And in this case, we need to use the square for most of these. There's just some different shading happening here, if that makes sense. So if I make the square, the point of the squares and square and rectangle hit the yellow, you can see that if you follow the square, we end up on this red-orange rust. That would be like a rust column. Here, I'll swivel it around so you can see more of the column. So I was basically picking colors that were right in here. And then the other corner of the square goes to this blue-green column where I was picking colors that were in here. So either light or deeper. There was one of the one skein, this one is really a variable blue-green. It's blue-green by sort of fooling the eye, because there's a blue and a yellow going together, which gives you that blue-green. So this is a pretty unique color, actually. I do like it, and I do think it will be fun to knit in knit up with this yellow. And that's what you're seeing, like the big diamonds are all that yarn, so you can kind of get an idea of the variation that happens in that skein. So in the time that I put this aside because I wasn't ready to cast on a colorwork sweater, I wanted to kind of let it, I wanted to think about it, because I had to really imagine myself wearing this all over. Not for the faint of heart kind of color combo. And really think about whether or not this was going to work for me. In that time, what came out was a new design by, I don't know when exactly it came out, called the Stowaway. I'm going to look at the info now. Called the Stowaway by Wool and Pine. And I think it came out maybe like 3 weeks ago. The Stowaway is a modified drop shoulder sweater that has a plain knit body with no color work, and you're doing color work on the sleeves, and there is also this sort of hoodie belly pouch, just like you would find on a hoodie. One of my cats is making noise and it's distracting me. And I was like, you know what? That I could get behind, because then all of this would be solid yellow. There'd be some color work on the sleeves. My yardage is on point. I actually have a little bit more yardage than I need for this pattern, of the yellow anyway. And, right, size 4, yeah, I only need 900 yards, and I have about 1200, so I'm good. I'll even have extra. I'll be able to make a hat or something. Yeah, so I have enough for this sweater with this yellow yarn. And what I decided to do, in looking at the versions, the testing versions of what people did on the sleeves, there was this section of the sleeve that was, many people ended up doing in like black and white, or like white with a deep navy, that I just thought was really cool looking, and I could totally see black and white working with the yellow. It just looks so amazing. But I also didn't want to lose like the use of these colors either, because I thought this was really great. And I thought maybe I would give the deeper blue a chance in a fabric that, or in a yarn that is not the texture that the suri is. So I placed a little order. Magpie Fibers they were actually the site that I discovered the Stowaway on. They were having a sale, a promotional sale over Labor Day weekend, and I ended up purchasing some yarns from them in their DK weight, because I don't have a DK black or white, so I bought both black and white, a full skein. I did buy a full skein, right? Not 50 gram. They did have 50 gram skeins too, I think. Some. So I ended up buying a full skein of black and white. I know I won't use them all. That's fine. Black and white are easy to use up in things. And this is it's their Swanky DK, and it's an MCN base. Because they were promoting the Stowaway pattern, they also had a bunch of DK minis. So I ended up purchasing a beautiful teal mini skein, and I got that pinky golden color. Let's see how I did. I actually haven't checked against the color combination book, the Japanese color combination book that I've been using. And I'll have full details on the book down in my notes. This one, oh, I actually didn't do all that great. This is a cooler color than that. And I haven't swatched with these yet, but I just thought maybe, you know, minis are pretty inexpensive of an investment, and I thought, you know, this would give me plenty to just give little tastes in there, and then I would go ahead and continue to use my hand spun in a big way, as well as these this fingering weight deep dark, like kind of mauvey rust color that I used in the swatches, in this swatch anyway, in the big swatch. Where did the big swatch go? Here. That's this color here. So I'm going to use these three, of course, the yellow and these two, and then with the addition of these two as like little pops, because the color work looks pretty interesting. I haven't taken a deep dive into it yet, but yeah, so that is what I'm doing. I've got like 4 stitches cast on, and I am following. I did swatch. I made a swatch. My gauge is a little off as usual. I'm a little looser knitter than most knitters typically are, so I'm going to be making the size 4. Pattern is super fat. It's a lot of pages because there's a lot of color work charts in it. They do have tools in the pattern for you to do mock-ups of what how your color will lay out, which I may do later. When I get there. I'm knitting the whole body in just plain stockinette using the yellow yarn, so I don't really need to think about the color work all that much, and I have a pretty good idea of how it's going to work out. I'm not going to do the pocket. I'm just going to do a solid knit body, and with the color work sleeves, which I think will look really great. And I'm not planning to do the pocket, so we'll see what happens. I'm also not concerned about the Swanky DK knitting with this super fine merino, because they're probably equally soft. This might even be a little softer. This is super soft yarn, so I think the drape and the way the yarns are hanging is going to be really nice. So I'm not worried about that at all. Anyway, I got, the gauge is 22 stitches, equals 4 inches on a US size 5 or 375 millimeter needle, and I got 21 stitches. So I just did a little math. My way of figuring out how many inches I'm gonna get is to go find the place where you're joining in the round, like if it's a top-down sweater, where are you joining in the round to knit the front and back together in the round, where you're just doing that, you're on body island, right? At that point, how many stitches is it saying that I would have at a particular size? I divide my gauge into that number and then see the inches, the chest measurement, and see if that works for me. And what I figured out was that with a 21 stitch equals 4 inches gauge, I will end up with, if I make the size 4, I'll end up with a 44-inch chest, which is perfect. They recommend 2 to 4 inches, I think, of positive ease. Yeah, 2 to 6 positive ease on the finish measurement. So that'll give me that range, no problem. So right, I'm making size 4. And you start this, because it is a round neck, not a raglan or it's kind of a drop shoulder. It does say drop shoulder, top down drop shoulder, right? You are forming the shoulder, joining, making the neck, and then you're knitting the back, and then you're coming back up, putting those stitches on hold, coming back up to one shoulder, knitting the bit of the front, going over to the other shoulder, knitting a bit of that front, and joining together for the neck, and then finishing the front, then joining in the round. So that's that process. So my instructions tell me to backwards loop cast on. I wonder why. So backwards loop is, the way I do it is I just hold the yarn over my thumb and do a turn to make a crisscross like that. Are you seeing that? And then pull. So it's pretty easy. 2, 3, 5, 6. Okay. So I'm gonna cast on for a little bit here. So I'm just doing one shoulder, so it's quite short, and it looks like there's some short rows in here. So first it's just knit the first round. This is, I'm working on the right side, on the right side. Fun times. I'm so excited to get started on this and to actually be knitting something out of this yellow yarn. It's going to be so pretty. I really think this is the best way to use this yarn. Kind of best of both worlds, right? I get the yellow and I get some color work. I get a yellow sweater with color work on the sleeves. That'd be so great. I let the slip knot be my first stitch when I do backwards cast on, and that might be a little controversial. Maybe I should make an extra one. It does mean there's a knot in my work, but I don't mind that. On the shoulder. Not worried about that. I used to only do backwards cast on. I didn't know how to cast on any other way because I learned how to knit in the 80s from a book, and there were no videos at that time. And although my mother knit, she didn't have time to teach me, and I was away at college, so I just kind of taught myself and looked at this book and other patterns and things, and I really didn't know all the other methods of casting on. I didn't learn about those until probably about 10 years ago. So backwards loop was my go-to method. So I'm super familiar with it. Before I get too deep. But before I do that, alright, so I've knit a row and I've purled a row. Before I look at the short row directions, there are a couple other things I want to just talk with you about. So I promised to show you the other Fat Squirrel Fibers bag that I got. So I bought this one. This is her sweater size bag. So this is really great for a lot of yarn, multiple, like I have all the yellow skeins shoved in here, and there are, I think it's five skeins, there might be 6 in there, and I had all of the colorwork yarn, although now it's all over the couch next to me, but it's all going back in there. So this for now is going to hold all of that yarn, and I'm using this, which you may have seen on my latest Knitter's Life episode. I'm using this Fat Squirrel fiber bag until I get till Halloween's over. So for the next 6 weeks I'll use this one, or until this gets too big to sit in there. But I don't anticipate working through this sweater all that quickly, because I do have another colorwork sweater that I'm trying to, or slip over vest that I'm trying to get through. So, alright, so this my short row go-to is a wrap and turn. I like doing wrap and turns because if you take the time to kind of line up the stitches, they're not visible. And this is saying, it's giving me an abbreviation I've never heard of. It says TMDS. Turn and make double stitch. Alright, so this is a German short row. I don't like German short rows because I can always see them. I might just not be doing them right. I'm not sure. So I'm going to do wrap and turn. The difference is that I have to knit one less stitch to do wrap and turn. Alright, so let's knit a little bit, and then I'm going to follow up. I'm just going to do a little short follow-up where I will tell you about the Inge sweater, my Inge sweater plans. Because even though I decided not to do the Inge sweater with this yellow yarn, I still really want to make that sweater. So I made some plans. Total of 4 wrap and turns for the size I'm making. So I think I might be able to show you, I might need to grab my phone to show you how I resolve the wrap and turns. I've showed it before, but it's been a while since I've done that. I can just turn this camera a bit to show you. just now, I'm almost done with the last, what I think is the last wrap and turn. So I want to just go back and double check the directions, make sure that I'm doing the right number. All right, actually, I think I can do that while I knit. 2, 3, 4, 2. Yes, it's just 4. All right, I'm done with this row. All right, so that's my shoulder so far. And you can see the 4 wrap and turns. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there in the middle. And that'll give me a nice shoulder slope. Okay, resolving wrap and turns. Got a little ways to go. So the directions say to knit 8 rows, resolving the wrap and turn. 8? 2 rows. All right, anyway. I know I can knit a row and purl a row, but this is where the resolution comes in, right? On the right side. Little cattail over my hands there. Right, where is it? All right, here it is. There it is. So this takes a little bit of work, and maybe there's an easier way to do it, and you know. But what you do is you put the loop, so when you wrap, whoops, splitty. So both those just came right off my needle, and that is fine. This is the wrap right here. I want to make sure the wrap lands behind the stitch. So because it's a knit, I'm coming in from the front, so now it's behind, and you're not ever gonna see it again. All right, I have 4 of them here, so you get another bite of that apple. Again, what I do is I slip that stitch over onto my needle, I lift the loop, put that on my needle too, and then I do a little switcheroo. So I slide that back on, make sure you're not twisting that stitch, slide the loop back on, don't twist that either, and now I can knit it. Alright, here we go again. Slip the wrapped stitch over, lift the loop, put it up on your needle, untwist that loop. If you twisted it accidentally, put the loop back on your needle. There's the stitch, there's the loop. The loop is now going to go behind the stitch. One more time. And here we go. Slip the wrapped stitch. There's the wrap right there. I'm out of focus a little bit. There we go. There's the wrap right there. Lift the wrap, put it on your needle. Take the stitch on back over onto your stationary needle. Move the loop over on your stationary needle. Now knit them together. And that's it. That's all there is to it. All right, so now that we're done with that, I wanted to just share with you, I couldn't let go of the Inge sweater, and in the course of planning the Stowaway sweater, I looked in my stash to figure out what could I make the Inge sweater out of, and I landed on this gorgeous merino. It's by Renninger Wool Company, Better Together DK, Holly and Sweet Pea. This is the richest, darkest brown, or chocolatey brown, the deepest color, closest to black, that Renninger Wool Company makes. So Renninger is a local not that local, but not that far. They're a Pennsylvania farm. And yeah, they have an interesting story. I know it kind of vaguely to repeat it. It's a small batch yarn from well-loved, responsibly raised sheep. I believe the owner, I think it was during the pandemic or in that second year of the pandemic, I think she made a decision to start a farm. I think they bought a farm and they decided to raise sheep. But this is really just real soft, squishy, beautiful, beautiful yarn. So I started to think about like what colors did I want to use, and I thought maybe like a nice deep dark rust and this blue green. These are opposites on the color wheel. Red, orange, and blue green. Red, orange, and blue green. So opposites on the color wheel provide the best contrast. So I went hunting for a skein of DK and a skein of a company that has farm yarn DK, because this maker does natural sheep colors, and I don't know that she's small batch, so I don't even think there's any yarn left in her shop, or if there is, it's very little. So I knew I had to look further afield. So I thought about who has farm yarn that also has a wide range of colors, and I had a couple things in my head, a couple of companies in head, and I landed on Jill Draper. I've bought her yarn in the past, really happy with it. It's good quality. She has her own yarn milled, and it's a real tight twist, which hopefully you can see. Real nice twist, which gives nice crisp lines when it's a tight twist like that. A broad range of colors. So I bought two. All right, I'm not 100% sure which base I bought, but I'll put it on screen because I have it written down. And I don't know the names of the colors either because I don't have those ball bands handy. So yeah, so I ended up picking these two, and I did swatch just to make sure I liked them. I'm like, I can't find too much stuff next to me on my couch here. So here's the swatch. And this is just gorgeous. This is gonna be so pretty. I love this so much. It was really hard not to just go ahead and cast this on. This was actually what I really wanted to cast on, but with that idea that I really need some just plain stockinette knit, and the Stowaway is gonna scratch that itch and still keep me moving forward. But I mean, I'm so happy with this. The crispness of the colors and the way that this Jill Draper yarn just really works on that chocolate brown. It's going to be just gorgeous. So this is going to be cast on very soon. I probably won't do a separate episode since you got so much of the Inge sweater in this video. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me and hearing my process on picking colors to go with what I think is not an easy color to find. Color combos, to put color combos together, and I was really happy that the Japanese color combination dictionary of color combinations could help me with that, and I look forward to other projects where this little book will be useful in helping me figure out color combos. It was really fun. All right, have a great day.